All right, welcome everybody. Super excited to have everybody here with us tonight. Tonight we have good old Christian Suprean. He is one of my coaches. We have Bethany and Christian over here. Can you hear me, Christian? How do I sound? You're muted. Okay, I'm going to ask him to unmute. There we go. He's been with me, gosh.
I'm muted. All right. I don't know. I thought I unmuted, but all right, my bad. But I'm good. I can hear you. You sound good.
Yeah. Okay, cool. So yeah, he's been with me, gosh, for the last, I don't know, 3 years or so. He trains 9 times a week. How many times a week do you train? And the
I mean, if you had this one, now it's 9 times. Yeah.
9 times. In fact, I think I want to have you show Pulse X a little bit on top, like layered on top, if you don't mind. That'd be cool. You just go back and forth. You're like, what are you talking about, man? I thought I was just going to come on here and hang out. He's about to go to bed. No, I'm just playing. No, really, he is. But anyway, what's up, Ahmed? How you doing, buddy? What's up, Arundel, C. Kennick, Elizabeth, Jamal, Jeff. That was a good question earlier, Jamal. I think that was you. Lydia, ZZ. Welcome, everybody. All right, okay. All right, so we got, gosh, we have quite a bit of you in here already. All right, so we're just going to get ahead and go. Oh, I got to allow chat, don't I? That's why it's so quiet. Let's see, how do I do that? Have to figure this out every week. I'll get it. Attendees can chat with everyone. All right, so there we go. There we go. All right, go ahead, guys, and try to chat. And we're switching platforms from GoToWebinar to this, mainly for recording.
You got to allow me to chat to everyone, because all I can do is chat the host and you.
Okay. Everyone. There we go. That's weird that it just doesn't automatically do that. What's up, Jamal? There we go. Now we're not just talking to ourselves. For a second there, I thought we were just all by ourselves. It just wasn't active. I will say we both love questions. Okay. And we will get to every one of your questions before we jump off here tonight. So as we're going, make sure to be very clear on your question so that we can answer it in a timely fashion so we can keep getting you guys going. But welcome to, this is week 2 of FX Freedom Live, and I'm very excited for the amount of people that are showing up. That's awesome. You can call me Randy. Awesome. Okay, Randy. Randall. Ah, look at that. I get it. Arundel. So Randy and Ahmed, and we have, let's see, Jamal and ZZ and Elizabeth and M. All right. And Lydia, what's up, Lydia? Hey, Lydia is awesome. Really looking forward to seeing her tear it up. Okay, cool. I kind of did a different format this week than I normally do. I usually just do back testing straight up, and I like to show how I would trade it. And but this time I prepared a few trades that would have worked, and then maybe you can shoot out some different pairs or instruments that you would like us to look at and how we would have traded it today using pip stacking. The reason I'm going to talk about pip stacking is because it's $7, and I'm pretty sure everybody has it at this point, which is the old supply and demand indicator. It's the same thing, only updated, and you can get it in the back office at FX Freedom. I'll just put it in here, fxfreedomtrading.com/login. So you just log in back there, go to pip stacking if you have it. If you don't have it, go to pipstackingsecrets.com. We do talk about this a lot, and I have no problem pitching it because it's $7. Like, I'm not getting rich off $7. This isn't a pitch show, so I just want to help you guys as much as possible. So let me just go ahead and go into the charts real quick. By the way, Christian, as soon as I updated Zoom, it like worked. So all I had to do is update it. All those problems we were having.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. Thought I was losing my mind. Okay, here we go. So I'm going to start with Euro USD. I also saw a gold trade that we could have taken today. And I'm going to share my screen here in a second. I'm just getting it loaded up. Did a little bit of prep work for you guys. And then we're just going to go into it. All right, so let me share screen. And here we go. All right. So let me pull this over here so I could see. And there we are. So can you guys see my screen all right? Just let me know in the box. I want to pull up the chat again.
Yeah, it looks good to me.
Okay, cool. All right. So basically, I laid out 2 trades that you could have taken on Euro USD today. One was super early. It was like 5:15 in the morning for all you early people. And then we had one that was at 9:45 right after opening, which was fantastic. Now, first and foremost, let me show you how I like to trade order blocks personally. We go back to the original area was right here. And let me just go ahead. And for those that you don't know how to trade pip stacking, let me just share that with you real quick, which is basically just order blocks, right? That's my call. Look, that was my arrow from last week saying it was going to go up in the trade analysis, the beginning of the week, I should say. So right here, we're literally going inside of this is a buy order block. I guess you can call it also a demand, right? So it's pulling back into a demand right here to mitigate these areas. Why is it that? Because it pulled up and broke this structure to the left. Now it's pulling back to mitigate orders. So I was looking only for buys in this situation right here. So once it pulls back to this area, now I'm around the 50% line. This whole area is going to turn green, right? And once that happens, let me just make it happen. Boom. As soon as that happened and this closes, this whole area should turn green anyways. Either way, you saw that it went past the 50% line, right? So right here, let me just go back in time and just show you what I was seeing. When I switch back to this area, I'm going now from the 4-hour order blocks to the 1-minute order blocks. All right. And that's the only thing you're going to have to do. Let me actually make that a little bit less bright so it's not all up in your face. And this is really awesome because, okay, so you're seeing structures being broken on the left right here. This is very important for you to understand. If you were at last week's class, you basically knew we're huge on liquidity, right? So if liquidity was taken up here, but overall direction on the higher time frame is already up, like for the last, I don't know how long, since 8th, right? It's been going up and we're breaking structures to the upside. So I'm looking for buys. And now the same thing, because the market is fractal, the same kind of things that work on the 4-hour works on the 1 minute, right? Because people are like, they always ask, does this work on the higher time frames or lower time frame? Yes. The answer is always yes. Like you could trade the 4-hour order blocks. You could trade the weekly order blocks. You could trade the order blocks just work, right? A lot of you guys are brand new. You don't even have to know what an order block is, right? Just know that it goes into the area. Usually it touches 50% of an area and then it'll start reversing back unless it's actually going to actually reverse or go lower. So with that said, this is what I was looking at. So I'm on the 1 minute. We already know the overall trend is up. And then from there, basically, just make sure everybody's in the room. Yeah, okay. Basically, we're looking for some kind of a break of structure back up. So right here is my first break of structure back up. How do I know that? Because this came down into this block. You saw this block turn green, right? This was a 1 minute order block. This block turned green, mitigated. Here is a block right here, and this went above this area, right? And this area wicked out this area. So right here, once I see momentum starting to push up, I would enter, right? Boom. So I would have entered right there because we're breaking now. Look how we're even closing body close above this wick. Let me zoom in there so you can see that. This is very important because down here, this area came all the way down, mitigated this block. This didn't mitigate this yet, but it will be eventually. This almost came down and mitigated this whole area at 50%. And if you notice this, it did it all the way up, right? There would be tiny little order blocks all the way up right here. This came down, mitigated 50% of this area, came up, created a new high. Then this came all the way down here to mitigate some of this area and just shot back up. Structure breaks back up. And then we had, this is what I call a reset. If you're in our PulseX group coaching, we talk about this all the time. Basically, it's proving that it's creating new highs and taking out liquidity at the same time. On the 1 minute, so once this broke above this area and this block, I'm like, okay, cool, we're going up. It's going to come back, mitigate, and then we're going up. So this is the block. It broke this block. You have even another confirmation by it breaking through another block right here. If you could see that, let me just go back. You can see when that happened. All right. So you can see behind here that there's a red block that means sell, right? So if I go right here, boom, it tapped to 50%. Now we're above that 50%, the sell order block, and we're above 2 buy order blocks. That's really good confirmation that's going to go up. Okay, if you're following along, if you're understanding this, go ahead and put a 1 in the box below, just so I could show you, just so I can make sure you're with me. Okay, 1. Cool. Everybody's, yeah, perfect. Is there anybody that doesn't understand this? That's okay if you don't, because I'm going to go over it a few times through these 3 pairs. And then we're going to just go from there. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and push play here, and we're just going to see what happens. So this broke through. And then really what I'm looking for, okay, Eric, we'll get, so maybe think about what you don't understand, and then we'll ask that question, and then we'll get to that question. What I'm looking for, guys, is up here. There's a block. See this giant block right here? Actually, yeah. This giant block up here, what I'm really looking for is I want to see it break this structure. Once it breaks this structure, I could essentially set my stop to break even. I feel comfortable setting my stop to break even, right? So I'm just waiting now. We broke structure. So at this point, I would move my stop a little bit into profit. So this is a risk-free trade. And this would have been a 1 to 5 at this situation. I'll tell you why I would get out. So let's see. So if I push play, you're just kind of letting it roll. We're creating new highs. See this? And what you're really looking for, if you could see that the green boxes below, is as long as they come down and keep tapping that and breaking new structures, breaking these red above here, then we're assuming that it's going to continue, keep going until it doesn't, right? See how these were red areas and then it just kept breaking the highs. We're just going to continue taking it. Let me this a little bit better. In this area, I would consider maybe getting out because you had two nice blocks here. If I look left, it's pulling blocks from all the way over here, and it just mitigated those. I would consider getting out there, or you could just say, you know what, I'm going to move my stop right here into profit. So that's called fractal stops, actually right here, because that wasn't an actual new high. This was the high, so I'm going to pull this one. So I'd put my stop right here right now, and I just let it play. And wait for break. Okay, we got a little break there. See how this created a new high above this little mini double top, and it was a little fake out. So now we're going above these blocks. So this is what you're monitoring. To be honest, I'd probably maybe get out right in here if I was in this trade. So right in there, if you weren't out, now we're going to look at this green area right here that was mitigated. And if it goes below here and you weren't out yet, that's when I would get out right there. So that would have smashed down, but you still would have probably been at break even, or maybe got lucky and was in that trade if you wrote it, if that happened. But I always get out before 8:30 because usually you see a lot of volume coming to the market at 8:30 and 9:30 Eastern. Okay, any questions on that trade? What you could have done today on Euro USD? I know we have another trade over here, more towards New York Open. That entry would have been at 5:13 in the morning. So I know we have like really early people, and then we have more like New York Open type people. So I wanted to show both today. Let me go ahead and push play, and we'll just see what's going on here. And no, I want you to start noticing what's going on. Okay, so watch which direction, watch which blocks are being taken out. Okay, it looks like maybe going to the downside. There we go. See, we're breaking blocks, these buy blocks to the downside, and we're breaking demands to the downside, right? But also notice this. We are now in an old block right here. See this giant green block? Okay, so that's what you really want to pay attention to. Why? Because this 8:30 wick came down here, took all this liquidity out, right? And came down here and mitigated a lot of this stuff, right? Now we're in this block, and let's see what happens in that block. So we basically whip out the bottom there, and then guess what? We have this nice area that we could break. Now we're still assuming that we're going to go up. Why? Because of the overall higher time frame, right? So let me go back to the 4-hour and show you. If you look here, this is still in this block, this giant block right here. It did not break these lows. Until it breaks these lows, I would consider we're still going to buy. Right now, you can counter trend trade, but I don't recommend it. But at the end of the day, you can essentially just only take the buys. There's no reason to be a hero, right? I'll just say it like that. Back to 1 minute. Let me go ahead and push auto there and just show you. So look, from basically this time, see this was at 9:16. It was going all the way down. Look, so a lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low. So I'm looking for it to break this block and this wick, right? For an entry, essentially, then pull back into this block. So once it does this, that's when I would look for an entry, right? Let's see what happens. Boom. Broke this block. And we basically entered because it came down, retested. Now we enter. There we go. Same thing as before. We are now basically watching left. Okay, we broke through this block. We broke through the block down here. We're still in this block. So this one would make me but I'd like to see what would happen. Right here, I honestly, if I'd probably get out right there. If it was going sideways, I'd probably just get out. There's no point, again, not to be a hero, especially at this point, but I'm just showing you like the best case scenario here is ultimately it finally breaks that top, but there was no reason to, it still barely broke it right there at that point. That would have been a good move too. That area. And I want to show you this, why I would get out here, okay? Right there. So if you weren't out, again, I want you to watch this. We had lower, low, wait, higher, low, no, lower, low. I guess we go up to, let me go this direction. Skip all that because that didn't break anything. So we have higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low, higher high. Now, where, all right, I'm going to label this. Let's see. So this would be 1, this would be 2, this would be 3, this would be 4. So tell me which area I would get out at if I was still in the trade and I was assuming that it was running out. So 1, 2, 3, or 4. Tell me which area would I get out if I wasn't already out. Curious. Very good. Very good. Yeah, yeah. I just want to make sure that you're following along. Okay, cool. So if I wasn't out at that point, I would have literally been out right here. Perfect. Perfect. Awesome. That would have been, that was another 1 to 6. So if I didn't lock. If I wasn't out at that very top, I would have had a 5.85 to something around there. Very good. Okay, I'm going to go lock that, and I'm just going to move on to your US 30. You got anything to say, Christian?
Nah, other than order blocks, and especially 4-hour order blocks are my favorite thing to trade out of. And everybody that watches my trainings know that. So
yeah, it's pretty much our whole thing. Shoot, I guess Bethany had a training today that was freaking out about. I didn't watch it yet, but everybody's freaking out about it. Or Pulse X. Something about order blocks and something using our other indicator, but I'll have to go check it out later. So this was a really good trade on US 30. Who trades the Dow in here? Let me know. Yep. Bethany's in here. Hey, do you want to come on? I didn't know you were in here, Bethany.
Me either. I didn't see her either.
If you don't want to come on, don't feel like you need to come on. I know you get up at like 2 in the morning. There you go. Bethany, by the way, Bethany is my other coach. We're basically a team of 3 right here. And yeah, I didn't know. US 30. What was your trade? Didn't you do like, you had like a 40-something $1,000 trade yesterday or something crazy? She posted a screenshot. Oh, 28,000. My bad. I think she did over 40,000, but she did made 44 for the day. Beautiful. Amazing job. Okay, so here we go. I'm going to show you 4-hour on US 30. I love the Dow. I do. That's where I really started getting really good, was when I started trading the Dow. Some reason I switched. Oh, I know why. You know why, Bethany, by the way, I switched to the Dow? There's something to do with 8 cap in their lot size, at least on one of the programs. I think it was one of the prop firms.
Right, purple. It was probably the purple trader.
Yeah, it was when I switched from 8 cap to purple, and I couldn't use the lot sizes I wanted to, but NASDAQ let me. So I just switched to NASDAQ, but there's really no reason that I don't trade US 30 as much anymore. I just started trading NASDAQ. They pretty much trade the same for me, but I do love I do love US 30. I traded it a lot today. All right, if we're on the 4-hour, guys, let me just show you what's going on. All right. This is all I care about. Let me zoom in to the 4-hour. Boom. Again, we have something similar with our Pulse X training where basically we have this thing called sniper entry, and then we basically wait for the 4-hour, and then we wait for entries, period. So let's just look in here. It looks very sloppy, I understand, but like when you're in a situation like this, you really have to pay attention to your last mitigated blocks and like where your zones are. Essentially, I'm a zone trader, guys. That's pretty much what we are. Like you see this massive block. Okay, maybe you can't. Hold on, let me make it a little brighter. All right, so you see this massive unmitigated block up here, right? So market moved really strong down right here. There's this whole area up here that needs mitigated. And then you look left here, if I turn this off, you look left here and you see all this areas where people that are selling are putting their stop losses, which essentially is forced buys. So banks can whip it down here, force prices and force buyers to sell. Okay. And then they can sell to all these institutions at a cheap price. They force them out with the stop. They bring them back up where they know where there's tons of buyers, right? So in my brain, I'm thinking this is definitely this area, this should go up. So I'm only looking for buys at this moment when I was down here. But because it came all the way up here and started wicking in this block right here, let me just show you this. Let's see. So I'm being very mindful of if it breaks a structure. This is what I'm trying to say. If it breaks a structure, I'm assuming it's going to go up. Okay. But ultimately, we're still going down. Hopefully that made sense. Does that make sense how I said that? Like I'm paying attention to this main, let me draw it out. So we had low, lower low, lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low, lower high, right? We're assuming we don't have a lower low yet. This could be the lower low. We don't really know. And we're just assuming that it's going to keep doing this. Essentially, that was a lower high. So that could have been sketch right here. But this to me was a major area. So I was just paying attention to this zone for a sell off. So let's just watch what happens here. On the 4 hour, let me turn the block back on. We have this red block right here. Okay, let me just highlight it because I know that's very bright. A little bit. I'm going to put a rectangle around it. So this is what I'm paying attention to. If it comes up into that area and it starts breaking back down without breaking the top of this, then I'm assuming it's going to go down, or at least down to this zone. And then if it breaks this high, I'm assuming that it's probably going to pull back and go up to this zone. So hopefully that makes sense. I just noticed. All right. So let me go up and then boom, we shoot straight up. And when I'm in this area, this is when I start looking on the 1 minute. Okay. Let me put this on the 1 minute here. Boom, boom. All right. So essentially I could have got in right here. This could have been a move right here and I might have lost. So let's be fair. Short. And what I'm looking for is like a break of structure, like a good clean break of structure. And if you want to be super safe, you get 65 pip stop. It's probably not that safe because we're obviously not high. So this would have been -1 for me. I might have even had this down here. I usually use a 10 to 15 to 20 pip stop ish, right? So I'm just showing you like the safest route for you guys. And I save like the smaller stops for our one-on-one type people, because like we could actually work with them and focus on their exact strategies and stuff. So I'm seeing an accumulation again, and we're basically waiting for a break back to the downside again. So look at this nice big green area, this nice demand zone, right? And we're expecting it to drop because it's all the way up here. If you're ever going to take a position and it's super close to the top of a block and you see a break of structure down, there's a great chance it's going to work out, or at least for a while. You see that accumulation? As soon as that breaks, I'd be in. Boom. See, they're inducing buyers, and then all of a sudden they take them out, right? Entered right here, and now we're going to just play it out. So this one would have worked out amazing, and I wonder who actually took this earlier. This was at 11:30. Bethany probably didn't because she's usually done before even 8, it seems. But so here we go. So we're now seeing structures being broken. Let me take this out of here. Structures being broken, these demand order blocks right here.
I basically did it on Nas.
You did it on Nas. Okay, cool. I didn't even look at that today, actually. Funny as that is. So we're seeing structure breaks. Like there's no reason to get out at this point. Seeing structure breaks. You can't even get asked for anything better than this. Like literally, it's not even like teasing you. It's like literally just shooting straight through the bottom of these blocks, shooting straight through the bottom of the block, shooting straight through the bottom of the block. Has a little pullback, which is normal. And then even created another low, so pulled up and didn't break that high. We're breaking structures back down again. Back down again. I may have gotten out in this area if I wasn't out, because I'm seeing liquidity being taken. Possibly could have possibly got out there, but let me just show you the best case scenario for me would have been basically once you started seeing that structure break. So like you're all the way down here. If I wasn't already out here, let me show that again. So you see this wick, it wicked out these areas. It mitigated something over here, guarantee it. This little block right here mitigated. And then you have a nice block right here with a high. So as soon as you start seeing it break back up, you can essentially get out. So right here, you could have gotten out pretty safely if you weren't out already. And that would have been, see, this is a 1 to 11 with a 41 pip stop. That's crazy. Literally, bro, like, dude, here's just give you like a little insight. I might have lost 2 or 3 times up here, to be honest with you. I might have lost and used like a 10 pip stop. Let's just say I used a 14 pip stop today. To give you an example. I might have gotten in right here thinking it was going to break and lost. Okay. Let me just show you how important risk management is. Might have been -1 there. Might have waited for a break here, like a clean break. So I would have lost twice or lost once. So I would have lost 1. And then I saw this break, this. I would have tried it again, right? I would have got in about right there. And ultimately, if I held the whole thing, that would have been a 1 to 28. So this is how we freaking smash these massive freaking risk rewards. And then I lost 1 and gained that much. Now, there is 0 reason to ever get out here. Like until right here. This was the first time that it broke a structure back up. This is so important for you guys to understand. Does this happen every time? No. But there's going to be some times that it actually just plays out perfect like this. So let me just, where's the freaking, just lose it, man. There we go. So look here, we had the structure break right here. We had lower low, lower high, lower low, lower high, entered in this area right over here. Then we had lower low here, lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low, lower high, and it shoots down. Lower high, lower low, and then the first time it breaks back up was right here. Boom. So at that moment would be the first time that you even had a reason to get out, and at that moment was a 1 to almost 20. Okay. That's what you guys got to understand. Who understands that? Go ahead and put a 3 in the box. Just I want to make sure you guys are following along. Okay, awesome, Jeff. Awesome, Kenrick, sorry. Pretty much everybody. Good. 2, 3, 3. Eric, are you getting it, buddy? That's how I would have played it. I may have even done a 10 pip stop. We do that all the time. Do you watch the trade all the way until the end? No, what I'll do. All right, so what I'll do is I'll literally do fractal stops, usually 2 behind. So I'll play it like this. I'll wait for the 1 to 5. If I hit like a 1 to 2, I might set it to break even kind of situation, or like a 1 to 3, or sometimes when I'm feeling like really good, I'll just let it hit like a 1 to 4 or 1 to 5, and then I'll let it run and I'll do a fractal stop with 2 behind 2 zones like this, like pullbacks. So if I was, let me just play it out so I could explain it better. So at this moment, I'm still at break even because I haven't pushed away yet. So I'm let's say wait for a 1 to 5. Boom. So I'm at a 1 to 5. So now I'm going to start following the fractal nature, right? So right here, I hit a 1 to 5. So now I'm going to let it push down. And now I'd be, oh, we still aren't good. We need another push down. So let it come up here and then boom. So at that moment, I could put my stop basically right there. You don't want to put it directly there, but you could just lock in that much. And then you could just fractally ride it down, especially, again, if you're looking on the higher time frame, you can see a zone that it'd be looking for. So let's look on the 15. And ultimately, if you just see an area like this overall, this could be your zone, right? Where there was a lot of volume. If you're not familiar with the volume tool, you could actually pop that out. I guarantee you, like this fixed range volume profile. If I put it from here to here, that's probably going to be a volume. Yep. See? Like I didn't even have to, I could just see it nowadays, literally right there. That's where the most orders are. So there's a good chance it's going to come at least back down to here. So let me go back and let me turn that off. Been about 2 lower highs behind the price. Thank you. Yes, very clear. It's getting there, Eric. Yeah, just stick around. And even if it takes you a year to get it, my dude, like you'll be great, right? So once this breaks this low, I'll have 2 more, or I'll have another area. Boom, broke that low. So that created a new lower high. I can literally put it right here now. 1, 2. Let me just lock this one in. Boom, create a new low. I can now lock in 1 to 5.23. And it does get to the point where you could be like, you know what, I got enough and I'm good. I'm comfortable. That's okay too, guys. If you've hit like your daily goal and all that stuff and you just want to get out of the market, that's totally freaking fine. But let's look down here, right here. Ultimately, if I saw this break, I would get out. The first time it broke that whole time. But if I didn't, I could have put it right here. But then your 1 to 8 is fantastic. But at this point, that's a freaking 1 to 20. That's amazing. So that means you risked, let's say it was 1% on a 100K account. This would be literally a $20,000 profit from a $100,000 account, which is crazy. That's crazy. All right. So let's move right along. I don't want to hold you guys up tonight. Let's see. Let's go to GJ. All right. There's this, I saw one trade that was at about 10 a.m. right after the market opened. And let me show you what happened here. So let me go 4 hour and we'll just show you. 4 hour here, hour, boom, boom. Now, obviously you could probably see it, but there's this block right here, right, that got mitigated. So let me just show you in replay mode. This came all the way. This created new lows. It grabbed liquidity, started shooting back up, and then we're in this block that pip stacking sees, right? Boom, goes up. Sorry, I didn't mean to push that. Goes up, starts wicking at the top of the block, like always. Right, go down to the 1 minute, and let's look at 1 minute here. Boom, boom, and same look as the other one. What was the volume indicator you put on the screen, Bob? I'll show that. Yeah, fixed volume. You just go right here. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 down, and it's all the way down on the bottom. You can just literally highlight an area, and it's going to show you where the most orders are at. Right. All right. So we have this green block right here. This is like a really nice little area to take out. It's going to take this area. Took this out, but look, if it takes this out, you're in. Right. Simple as that. 4.5. Oh, my bad. 17 pip stop if you want to be super safe. Totally fine. I use smaller stops on these, like 5 pips or so, but you can do that. So here we go. I'll show you both ways, actually. If you want to be a little riskier. All right. See, look, nice little fractal movements down, creating new low or higher or lower lows, right? All the way down. And then I think it created a nice little area to break. You weren't already out, right? Definitely this area if you weren't already out, but you could have grabbed at least a 4.59. Let me show you this. You actually grabbed a 1 to 5 out of that if you just grabbed it at the bottom there. But let's look at the fractal nature. You had lower low, lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low, lower high. I guess you can call that one, but it's not really. Lower low, lower high, drop. So you could have had a stop right here, essentially, if you weren't out yet. And then if not, you're down here. Now, how could you have used a smaller stop? So we're at a 17 pip stop right here. Essentially, if you're looking at this break, if you want to be a little bit riskier, you could have put it like above that 50% area of this block, put it above the other block. You see this one right here, this lines right here, which is this block. Put it above there and just wait for another push down, or you could have waited for it to start rejecting that area first, or just taking the break. Probably the safest route. Had a smaller stop there. And look what it does to the risk reward at that point. It's pretty wild. You go from literally a 1 to 5 to a 1 to 10 just by messing around with that. So this would have been probably something I would have done. I would put it above the 50%. So that was still a 1 to 7.64 bare minimum 1 to 5, right? You could literally lose 4 in a row and then get this and you're still up 1% for the day. Pretty crazy. Now, I'm not telling you to risk 1%. I'm not telling you to risk any percent. I'm just telling you. And I gotta say this. It's for entertainment purposes only. It's annoying. I know I had to say that, but I'm not getting in trouble. Don't listen to me. I'm not a financial
advisor.
advisor.
We're not financial advisors at all. Oh,
I'm
and
just
for
here to
some
help
reason, it won't
you
let me
guys.
put my video back on, brother.
Yeah.
I had to get
Um,
up for a second. Somebody was at the door, so I just turned it off, so it just wasn't nothing. But
You're good. There you go. Oh, so let me go back. Okay, I don't know how to make it. So reclaim host. There we go. All right. So there's GJ. Does anybody have a pair you want me to look at? Because I know it's already 8:45.
and Eric, if you have a question, like if you, I know you say you're getting it, but if you have a question that you want to put in the chat, we'd be more than happy to answer it.
Christian, would you want to show something maybe that you taught with Paul Sex today, just to show them the entries that you got with that, if you have them, a 4-hour block or?
I ended up trading the other way today, but yeah, we could look at what a couple of things on that we looked at on Paul Sex right quick.
Yeah, let me have you share. 1 sec. Multiple participants share. So while you guys are asking questions, go ahead and ask questions while you're at it. I'm gonna, okay, NZD USD, I'll check that out. After Christian shares this.
All right, so
Let's do a couple, just show them. So this is our indicator Pulse X Premium, okay? And I just wanted to show you, like, we still trade out of the 4-hour blocks, but this works really well. That's what we call a trend call. And there's literally 13 or 14 things that have to happen for that to actually pop up, which is pretty powerful. And with Pulse X Premium, you actually get 5+ hours a week. You get Coach Christian here and Coach Bethany, and then I'll jump on here as well on Thursday nights and other times throughout the week sometimes. So go ahead.
So yeah, so basically what we were looking at, I ended up hitting this on something else as well, but with the mentorship. But so either which way though, it hit both ways. But 4-hour order block, we came up in it. So we dropped to the 1, waiting for the trend call down. And we started breaking down. We got to wait for the cloud, our 1-minute cloud to turn red right here. We broke a structure down just like we're looking for, right? Now we got to come back up. We would have, I believe it would have lost one on this. I go for 1 to 3s. So I actually, on this particular situation, I was already out before the sniper method hit because of what we do in mentorship. But there's a couple times, there's times that the sniper hits first, and there's times that the mentorship will hit first. So I mean, it's a trade every way, right? I trade the X factor, I trade sniper, and I trade this way, and it's always out of order blocks. But so we came back up, and now we're just waiting for it to break back down below the Pulse X line, which is the red and green squiggly line. You can turn these trend calls off if you're in a sell order block. You can turn the buy trend calls off. I don't let them bother me. I just keep them on. Once we shot down right there, we would have got in.
The entry with
right. I didn't mean to go that fast. Once we shot down right here below the line, you get in, stop right above here. I believe this one would have actually lost, but and then you just stick with it. Yeah, that one would have lost. So you just stick with it. Do it one more time. Short position. You could either put the stop up here, or maybe like Bob was saying, 50% above there, or however you want to look at it. Let's just put it up there. And then that ended up just smashing.
Boom. Anybody grab this today while you're live?
This was after we were looking at, we really wasn't looking at this too much on the Pulse X training today. We were looking more at US 30s buys on the way up, and then it ended up selling off out of the order block after all this happened after the training.
I got you.
A couple hours after the training. What we had exactly on the mentorship call this morning, we had exactly what happened right here. So I don't know if anybody on that caught it. But the thing is, here's the deal. If people were looking at the sniper method, you should know how to trade it now. And this was just if you lost one and then you go up 1 to 3. I just basically, me personally, I go for 1 to 3s, and I'm happy with that. And then go to the next trade, or basically normally if I hit lately I've been hitting 1 to 3s the first trade and I'm done for the day. I like being done for the day.
Yeah, I'm the same way.
But
Same
so
way.
that's that. US 30, we actually were looking at the X factor on US 30. Let me see on this though. What are the rules when you use the trading
All right,
indicator for pip stacking?
I already answered him.
Okay, cool. I just wanted to. All right, so now let me put on the other. Boom, boom. So on
I
US
like how you
30,
do that. You just
well,
have
dude,
two
look,
on
it's so much easier.
there.
Like
Yeah.
if you just have both of them on, and then
Mhm.
15 is the X factor, the one
Yeah.
that just represents the cloud is the sniper. And you don't have to, because like I literally look for 4-hour clock, 4-hour order blocks. If we're in the middle of 4-hour order blocks, I'll turn on the X factor, see if the X factor is ready to rock. And like today on US 30, right? We were, oh, where are we at? Am I?
No, you were in a block.
Yeah, but we wasn't in a block at first.
Oh,
Where
okay.
were we at though? I'm looking for where we were at. I think, oh yeah, we're somewhere in this candle right here. Either way, we took the middle of this candle up right to the top, and then it came back down, I think, on the X factor. Yeah, in here. Right here is where on our training, we didn't really catch it, but we looked at it and was waiting for it to push back up. That would have been the entry on the training. But then after that, it just never did. The second confirmation candle, what I do, never did happen. This is what looking for second confirmation never happened. And then it turned around and went
Just
down.
real quick, show them the trend call out of the box. Of the 4-hour block.
Oh, down here.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
There was a good entry down there, just so you could see it.
Oh yeah, huge entry down here. We wasn't really looking at it, but right here. So basically trend call right here. So this is back to the sniper method, right? We in this 4-hour block. This happened way before the training.
Looking for buys because you're hitting the demand.
Yeah. Only looking for buys. You're in this 4-hour order block. Why does it keep doing that? So we're in this 4-hour order block, right? So
yeah. There's two actually that worked out great.
Right, that one worked out too, but this one, I think that was, yeah, this is the one we were looking at right there. All right, so trend call, right? I think I moved this block a little bit as well. I think it was more like that. But trend call right here comes back to the thing, came back up, made a new high, got the green cloud right here, jumped off of it there. This is where I would have entered right there. It would have shot up here. You might have, I mean,
on there real quick.
Wait, right here.
Push off the green. Put it below the prior low.
Yeah, right here, below that. Push off of this, right below that. It came up there, but and then
yeah, just pull it up. Let's see.
Right up
there. So
yeah, let me just go to the 5-minute right quick. Well, I don't know why it keeps doing that. 113.7.
Nice.
I don't know. You could be done for the week, maybe even done for the month.
Yeah, like Christian's huge on this. He was saying for the longest time, he was saying, man, let's get 3% for the whole week. If you have $100,000 account, you know what? I'm gonna talk about this for a second. Yeah, let me just take over. Why don't you stop sharing?
Yeah. So you want me to look at that real quick, and then you can pick it.
Yeah, go ahead.
So basically, what I would always say, I was like, look, if we could just figure out how to get 3% a week, but I would use it to say only 3% for the time, right? Because we were going for. Some people were going for 3% a day. At one time, I was going for 3% a day, right? Even when I was saying this. But literally, if you go for 3% a week, our goal is to help all figure out how to get funded for $100,000. Especially once you join everybody. I don't care where you're at. I want you to get joined. I want you to hit $100,000. 3% a week. After they take their money, that's $2,400 a week on $100,000. Now, if you need to make more than that, which why wouldn't you want to make a little more than that if you can? All you got to do, we don't have to teach you how to get 6% and then 9% and then 12%. You just go get funded for another $100,000. And now that 3% is $4,800. And then you get funded for another $100,000, and that 3% is now $7,200. But this is a week, and you can get funded for all the way to $1 million. If you can't figure out how to live off of $7,200 a week, $30,000 a week is available.
So so basically he's talking about prop firms. If you guys don't know, basically we, like in our mentorships, we teach like how to pass prop firms and that kind of stuff. And also with Pulse X Premium, but basically you could basically get funded $100,000 all the way up to $1 million. In fact, Bethany, I believe, is funded over $1 million. I've been funded over $1 million at this point. Christian's doing great. That's really what we focus is leveraging other people's money, right? So if you're able to literally we used to say 1% a day, but here's the fact. Here's the fact that I want you guys to understand. 1% a day sounds freaking phenomenal, okay? But if you land an actual 1% per day for 20 trading days per month, that's 20% per month. Is that possible? Absolutely. Do I hit that some months? Absolutely. But here's the thing. What I say in our mentorship groups is I literally will say, look, instead of increasing your risk, instead of trying to like blow up this account and make as much money as humanly possible off this account, just increase your funding. Like Christian's saying, he's saying on a more of a lower scale, which is totally fine. Like for most human beings on the planet, are you saying 3% a month or per week?
Week, 3% a week.
So that's
the thing is, with the way I'm trading, that could be 2 trades. Like I could literally be done for the week in 2 trades. And but that's also on my main account right now. If I want to trade, I got little live accounts I can trade. I can do other different things. I can trade go get funded again or like that. But on my main account, my thing is I'd always give it back. I'd be up 3 or 4% for the week, and next thing I'm down back to 0.5% for the week, up or down 2% for the week by the end of the week, because I'm trying to go for 6 or 7%. And
look, some of you guys, I would say most of you guys, are too addicted to trading. There has to be a point where you're actually pulling money out of your broker, right? Or out of the prop fund. And in order to do that, you need to at least protect one of those accounts. Okay. As boring as it may be to only get 3% in a week, which is, by the way, better than probably 99% of all investors in the world of anything. Gaining 12% on your money in a month is ridiculous. Like most real estate investors, they're stoked getting 5% a year on their money, right? And most traders are taught, especially Forex traders, I've noticed, because you know why that is? It's not your fault. There's so many of these get rich quick scam artist type people out there that are selling you this BS fluff where they're showing only their wins. They'll have 5 demos open in all these and just running all these accounts and just showing you the best one. And trust me and him actually got scammed when we were learning years ago, like by multiple different people. Like they would show us all these account growths, and then all of a sudden they would trade our money or something and say, wow, they went through our money real quick. Or they would try to teach us a secret 9-13 EMA cross flip thing and no risk management at all. Just get in twice. They didn't even know they said get in twice. Still to this day, I don't know why they said get in twice. Long story short, you don't need to make that. Pretend all you had to do is get $100,000 account. That's only 8 to 10%. I think it's 8% on my Forex funds, right?
All right.
You have to hit 8% profit in a 30-day period. You don't have to do it tomorrow. You can do it in a whole 30 days. Okay. I want you to think about this. If this took you 3 months, okay, to pass if it took you 3 months to finally get paid out, okay, it took you a month to pass phase 1, a month to pass phase 2, and then the 3rd month you finally get paid out, but you were able to hit 3% per week on that. With that $12,000 that you profited, it'll be a little bit less because you're paying them. Let's call it $10,000 that you made in 3-month period extra help your life, right? And from that point forward, you're earning 3% a week, roughly. Obviously, you got to alter it towards how you trade. If you protect your capital, that's what you got to get good at, is protecting your capital, not your win rate. You got to protect your capital, right? Take the best trades only and scale those, right? And I always tell everybody, like, if you're trading a prop firm, only use the house's money. That's what I do. I pass them really fast. People are like, how do you pass them so fast? I'm very low risk at the beginning. I build up a cushion, and I'm only trading the cushion that I built up. I'm trading only the house money, as you call it. And then I'll risk 1%. I'll risk even up 3% sometimes, but it's always the house money. So if I lose, I'm not losing the whole thing. I'm just starting over again. And usually you could do it on 2 or 3 trades if you do it right. So really trading funded accounts, prop firms isn't that hard, honestly. And you can do it very safely. And here's the other thing. I'm going to give you another tip. If you are going negative, okay, one, you need to step away. But I know a lot of you guys, it's almost impossible. Like you have to feel like you have to get it back, right? Instead of risking, let's say you're risking 1% and you went down negative 2% that day. You should, as a good disciplined trader, walk away and not trade, maybe for the whole week, ultimately. Maybe get your head right. But I know that you're human, so most likely you're going to trade. Instead of trading 1%, drop it down to 0.25%. In fact, I saw in the group today, you guys were asking, what percentage should I trade? What percentage? Another person, what was it? He's in here. Who was that? Jamal? I think it was Jamal. Yeah, he was asking basically for someone who doesn't come up on money and you see $100 and what stops you from grabbing it. I think you're start forgetting about the money and focus on risk reward. And that's what's going to get you successful. So like I mentioned earlier, drop it to 0.25%. Start letting them run and get used to actually seeing them play out. And that's what's going to build your confidence to actually hold the trades longer. You don't have to be a hero and hold it for 100 or 1 to 20s, right? But if you were able to turn a 0.25% risk to a 1 to 4, and all of a sudden you're up 1% for the freaking day, and all you need is 2 more trades that week to hit 3%. Guys, you're going to be doing better than 99% of the people. Now, I want you to focus on this. You know that the average person that keeps their funded account, and consistently grows, averages 6 to 8% per. That's exactly why you'll look on all these funded prop firm traders leaderboards, and you'll never see, very rarely will you see the top 10 people there the next month, because there's a great chance they lost their account, because for the most part, they're getting like 40, 50, 70%. That's unrealistic to stay, depending on their plan. Maybe their plan is to make as much money off that one account as possible before they blow it and then start over again. That works, I guess. That could work too. But me, I'd rather have consistency and scale my funding and know that I have another paycheck coming at the end of the month. I told the story many times how once I had a prop firm, they owed me about $46,000. And because of one of my over trading situations, we all have these issues. I literally hit negative 5,000 on that 100K account. That month, it was 46% up. I hit that 5K. So it was over 5% for the day. Literally just out of anger, I did it. It was like, I'm going to win this anyway. Screw you. And I could have walked away and not lost the account. Instead, I lost $46,000, which that's fantastic. So that only had to happen to me one time. And after that, I'm like, you know what? I'm done with this crap. I'd rather just stay super safe and scale, which by the way is massive. Like let me ask you this. How many times have you been funded or almost there and you just had to finish that day for some reason and you blew the whole freaking thing out of anger? How many times? All right. And then the mentality, you have to think of the mentality. If you have not withdrawn any money out of a broker account or a funded account yet, maybe you're risking too much in trading too much. Okay. Like you really got to think about this, guys. 3% a week. Honestly, let's do the math. Most people, you don't have to tell me what you need, but most people, they need $5,000, maybe $6,000 a month to replace their income. You don't need to tell me what you need. It could be 2,000, doesn't matter. But with $100,000 prop firm account, it costs basically $500 on most prop firms to get. You're risking max $500, which is a lot of money still, don't get me wrong. But if you play it safe and play it super, just really conservative and don't break any rules, at worst case scenario, you might have to retake it, but we all want it tomorrow. We all want to get funded tomorrow. But that little $500 risk could literally turn into $12,000 the next month. That's crazy. We live in this crazy time. I'm looking at everything as a risk reward anymore. It's amazing. So let me go in here. Lydia says different prop firms, same trade. Yes. Yeah. Basically, we don't do that always, but we do copy trade over. But the problem is a lot of these copy traders are having glitches. I know that Social Trader Tools has been having issues for me. Sometimes it won't close the trade out and you think they're all closed out. So what I started doing was opening up all my MT4s on different virtual VPSs. So I literally will have multiple open at the same time just to make sure they're closed. So if I close on Social Trader Tool, got to monitor it because I've lost accounts that way. I've lost accounts almost every way you can imagine, actually. Let's see. Oh yeah, I'm crazy. Switch to demo to not overtrade. Yeah, so you could switch to demo, or if you're in our mentorship program, one thing that I tell everybody, we have this what we call a grocery getter method. And it's something I love to do. I love to flip like little accounts for fun. So what I'll do is I'll trade my main accounts, and then I'll have an account that's $100 to $500, usually like $500. And I'll try to flip that. If I want to do crazy things and I'm like obsessed with trading that day and I'm just feeling good and I want to like just scalp like crazy and do stupid things, I'll jump on my grocery getter account that's $500, something you could afford to lose, right? Maybe that's $50, doesn't matter. And I'll overtrade on that thing. I'll make the riskiest, craziest trades. And be honest with you, probably about 50 to 60% of the time, I double the account like pretty quickly. It's definitely better than losing your main accounts. But me personally, with people say go trade demo, I'm not telling you go use real money. I shouldn't say that ever. But me personally, if I trade a demo, it doesn't feel like I have to feel it a little bit. If I lose $500, that kind of sucks. That was like groceries for my family for this week. I got a big family, but that was like, I felt that a little bit. It sucks. I don't like losing money still to this day. If I double it, I'll tell you what, that $500 that I doubled and pulled out and put in my Cash App in an hour, that's pretty freaking amazing to me still to this day. Because like, I remember there was a time where I couldn't make any money trading. Now I can freaking do it sometimes in an hour or two, flip an account, pull that money, have it withdrawn into my Cash App. And then I'm using it. Like those groceries I buy with that money taste a little bit better. Let's be honest. All right, let me just read this.
Yeah, I didn't think my prop firm don't need me to do 5 days a week. And if they do, you just go down to a 0.01 per lot and make a quick trade, get in and out. But I don't have to trade 5 days a week.
No, you don't. If you're in one, you got, I don't know which one that is. There was a guy
you got to do 5 days a month, but goodness sakes.
Most people are like, dude, I've bought coaching from almost every person you could imagine if they have coaching available. If they don't have coaching available, I hit them up and I bought coaching from them. Like I said, I spent like $180,000 in different coaching and programs and different things. And you would be shocked, like some of these big YouTube stars and stuff, you get with them. I'll never mention any names ever. And none of them, most of those guys never scam me. But like I get with them, I'm thinking like, are you actually profitable? I'm not, like the things they would show me, like, is this even real? I can't even believe you showed me that, like another breakout strategy, which is everybody knows a breakout strategy. Just give me an example. Thank you, Lydia. Appreciate that. You are the real deal. I like that. So Eric Jones says, how are you getting 3% a week if the prop firm want you to trade 5 days a week to keep an account? Yeah, you don't need to trade 5 days a week. See, yeah, five trading days in a month, Jeff says. Yep. Awesome. Okay, I'm going to jump on. I know we had somebody ask earlier, they wanted me to look at one last pair and then NZD USD. And I want you guys to know, like, I'm super appreciative of you guys. Thank you so much for trusting me and Christian and Bethany. We'll have to get Bethany on here sometime too, with your time and your money. And we want to treat you just as good as we treat anybody else. And we want to help you grow every single week. So NZD USD, let me just jump
NZD JPY is what he meant. He said, so NZD JPY.
Gotcha. I don't even know if I have that up. Is that like some secret pair? Oh, there we go. Look at that, man.
And that's probably one of that and AUD JPY. If you trade Asian pairs, in my opinion, would be probably the best two pairs to trade in the Asian session.
Makes sense,
Asian session pairs.
So let's look at the time. That was Monday. We're coming out of a block right here. So you could essentially get, I don't really love to trade when it's already outside, like the move already happened, but let me show you here. Let me just load that up. 4 hour, boom, boom. And that happened at 9 a.m. So right there, he had this small little move down. So this is at 9 a.m. We are outside of this block. So essentially, I would have stayed out of this trade, if I had to be honest with you. Because why? Because this came all the way up at this point, at this 9 o'clock time, and already broke this high. But because of this wick, I might have maybe taken this scalp. Let me look at that and see if there's even anything there. Because this came up and wicked this out super strong and closed right there and rejected that hard, there might be something in there. Let me just look. A minute. Where did it go? Is that up here? Wait, what did I do? Then I go back in time. Yeah, that's fine. Yeah. So right up in here, like I wouldn't have traded this up here because I didn't know what was going to happen yet, essentially. So why is it showing that far over though? What am I doing wrong here?
I don't think you're doing anything wrong. I just think that's the 4 hour to the 1 hour. So it's a
4 hour to 1 minute.
4 hour to the 1 minute. So it's a lot of candles.
All right. So after that candle close, you could essentially look for another break. So if I'm on the 1 minute, right, you'd be looking for a break. So this could have potentially been a break. I don't love how it took this out right here. You could just start going for it. You could take a couple swings at it if this is your pair. Just short. So right here on this break, you could have put it right there. You could have stopped above here, 10 pip stop, just played it out. Okay. All right, good. So right there, from there to there was a 1 to 2. Not the greatest trade yet, but it did break this low. At this moment, remember I said earlier, a lot of times 1 to 2 plus a break of structure, I'll set it to break even. So right now it'd be in a risk-free trade if I wasn't yet. And that just tagged me out. Not much here to look at. I might actually take it again down right here actually. See how it accumulated right here and broke again? So I may maybe have taken it something like this, stop above here. It's a smaller stop. If you want it super safe, you can put it up here, which would probably be like 12. Yeah. Or like right there. Already you're at a 1 to 6.3. You can go for this order block right here, 1 to 3.4. But no, we hit a, was that a 1 to 2 yet? 1 to 6.3. So that might actually lose. Yeah, that lost.
We broke a structure.
What?
I forgot you said 1 to 2.
There she goes. So if you were a little safer, it would have been better that time. The 1 to 12 ended up hitting a 1 to 1. I don't know. Just not, it wasn't that great of movement today. Here's why. Okay. This is the reason I was hesitant at first. Oops. The reason I was hesitant at first. Why is it still in replay mode? There we go. Is because it already broke structures here. Like what I would have rather have seen personally is the block. It would have came up right here and then possibly look for an entry down right here. But instead it just freaking smashed up and then rejected. So at this point, I would be more prone to buy, looking for a buy, because I always say this, supply becomes demand and demand becomes supply, right? Now, if you were to like back test this, dang, it worked great. You could see the blocks, right? So you could see this rundown right here was amazing, actually. I might start looking at this a little bit more. Like this came all the way down here, pulled back. You would have looked for a sell right here, right? Then you had a block right here. Came down here, pulled up. You would have looked for a sell in this area right here. And those on the 1 minute, this could be massive. This could be like a 1 to 20. I don't even know. And then this kind of broke. No, it didn't break this block, but it broke this block that you would have had it on. And you could have actually looked for a sell right in this area, but this would have whipped it out. You're back in this block, and this was an unmitigated area above this area. So you could have looked for a sell down from here. This actually didn't tap back into the 4 hour. Here was the 4 hour block. It never came all the way back. But then this became one here. And then look what it did. Came up. You had this sell right here. This came up a little bit higher into that block. Sell right here. Then this becomes a block. Came all the way up, tagged it. You dropped down. Let me show you what that would look like. There's probably a good entry right there. If it lets me go to the 1. If it doesn't, then it probably won't actually, but we'll just do it. We'll just try. Good. Right here, once this hit the 1 minute, that hit, you basically have, or once that hit the 4 hour block, you basically had, actually it would be a little bit more, tagged it. And then you have all these green blocks right here. So you could essentially let it tag that. You could sell the break, or you can wait for it to pull back. So let's just see. Boom. I'd probably just enter that, honestly. Short. Put the stop like up here. And then if this one fails, it would probably mitigate this zone and you try it again. That's all there is to it. And if you're on last week, you'd know I'm huge on liquidity like this. Or it's building up liquidity, stops, it's inducing buyers, and then takes it out usually. Lots of liquidity to the downside. So it's buy side liquidity. So they're forced to sell off, I think. We took out some, and then there we go. Now we're breaking structures down. There we go. Starts. There's a 1 to 1.74 so far. This is when I go to the higher time frame, look for targets. We are in a block right here, so there we go. Boom. Ends up 1 to 3.76 so far. See if it smashes more. Breaking more structures to the downside. Boom. 1 to 7.88. That's obviously if you're like swing trading my stuff. 46. Let's see. All right, it's 9:19, guys. Let me see. Let me just go in here. Answer any last questions, then we'll end it. And then hopefully by next week, you'll have more questions and we can do that because I don't want to hold Christian up all night. So Lydia says, what are the trade ideas based on? Can we set limit orders or you should wait until price come to that area and see what it does? So we are huge on break of structures. So that's why we're waiting on blocks to break back down. That's why on Pulse X, if you're in the Pulse X, you're waiting on basically a 4-hour order block and a rejection of that area. So I'm trying to find my brush. There we go. So it would come up like this, and then you see it come down. You have a trend call if you're on Pulse X, basically first notifying you. Wait for break of structure. You'll have the Pulse X line like that comes up here. Really what's happening is mitigating an order block. It just shows you more visually. And then you enter off the rejection of the line. You take it down. So you're proving momentum the opposite direction. That's it. You're very welcome, Jeff. Appreciate you for being here, man. Let's see. So what are the best times of the day to look for entries? London and New York, ultimately. The most movement. I trade only New York, and then I'll even trade afternoons. In our Pulse X and our mentorship, we do a lot of, we call it power hour, like 2 to 3, 2 to 4 sometimes, depending.
Just in case you don't know, that means, just really quick, just in case you don't know what London and New York means, that means London would be 2 a.m. Eastern. No, 3 a.m. Eastern. And then to about, what, 3 p.m. Eastern, I guess, that would be into New York. So London and New York, that would be about your time frame inside of those hours.
That's it, guys. That's it for FX Freedom Live this week. And thank you so much for being here. Thanks for all your questions. And thanks for hanging out for, gosh, an hour and 15 minutes with us. Here's Pulse X Premium. If you're not a part of our group mentorship, we do literally 5 sessions per week. Christian, can you give like your schedule? I'm just curious. And Bethany's in here as well.
So Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday at 10:15 a.m. Eastern. Thursday with Bob at 8 p.m. Eastern. And then Bethany is Tuesday and Thursday at 2:30 p.m. Eastern.
Yep.
So that's our
five plus sessions per week, 1+ hour long, going over the Pulse X indicator and lots more stuff. If you like this, you'll love that. That's all there is to it. Anyways, that's it, guys. Go to pulsexpremium.com if you want that. We're having a special for a year. You could save $500. Either way, doesn't matter. Just glad that you're here. And hopefully we can get more and more people on here by next week. And make sure to invite your friends. All right. God bless. Take care. Beckett out.
Y'all be blessed.
Peace.